the recruiter says, well, let's look at your scores. And lo and behold, I came back what they call a Cat 1, which is like 97, percentile. There's only, 2% that were supposed to be smarter than I was, and they were probably not the ones joining the military. So answered the nation's call. Well, you get off the plane, and it's one of those, you walk, towards the door, the air conditioner is running full blast, you're in your khakis, and you feel the starch coming right out because the humidity is just unbearable. Well, the fact that, you had no idea what was next. There was no certainty, no comfort zone. You knew that the people to your left and right were your entire world. In a little place called Samarra in Iraq, where my last combat deployment at 55, I was supposed to be an intelligence analyst working the second shift. So I took my assistant convoy commander, moved him up to truck 1. I dropped back to truck 6, and instead of being the vehicle commander, I went ahead and gunned. So I dropped the gunner down to the driver over to the vehicle commander, so everybody had a sense of what the other person had experienced. What we didn't know is, as we approached, they have a unit called the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers were combat engineers with specialized vehicles, and they would go down with a claw and a camera, and if they saw something they didn't like, they would disassemble it right there, but they'd stop all the traffic behind them. The insurgents knew our tactics better than we did, so they had laid an ambush. They had put a very apparent mine out there. What they didn't, fail to do was put at our standoff distance another bomb, and then further on where the vehicle traffic would be backed up, they put a series of charges. Well, the acting convoy commander saw that the Trailblazers were going slow, and he asked permission. So we crossed the center line, came up at a good rate of speed. I never allowed my people to do the posted speed limits because the last thing you want to do is be predictable. We came around the Trailblazers and cut back in right before they would have found the target bomb. And the insurgent who was the trigger man saw that we were going to see it. We would have stopped the Trailblazers from getting hit, so they just rippled everything off. And if you can imagine your entire world turning into this, gray cloud that has, red, orange, flashes, everything, and, you just understand that your entire world is probably over. And we came through, and there was shrapnel everywhere. And I didn't even realize I was injured. The shock was there. There was no sting. There was no, and looked down, yeah, I'm hurt. And those 18-year-olds, which everybody talks negatively about, he took charge of the situation, told everybody, Charlie Mike, continue the mission. We got the people, down to the site as soon as we could. We flipped it around, got me back to the aid station. I initially refused mine, and the battalion chaplain 2 days later walks over and sits down in the mess hall and says, Ed, you're turning down the purple? Why? I said, Chaplain, there are people that lose limbs to get this medal. I could have cut myself shaving worse than this. Wasn't true, but, he said, you do understand that had that been an inch higher, an inch further back, I'd be having this conversation with your wife and not. So he said, look, you did everything that the medal requires. You bled for your country in action against the enemy. Put it in, it's not a source of pride, but it is. It's one of those, you understand that some people pay the ultimate price to wear the medal that I wear. I have to respect their sacrifice and the fact that I walked away.